at school today, so I recorded some notes for you. Apologies, I'm not there, but two young kids, they get sick every now and then. They bring home stuff. I get sick, whatever. That's kind of part of the deal. So I made some videos that's going to talk us through the last bit of the notes in the packet we were working in. So the last packet you guys had was this one variable statistics, means versus medians, box plots. And you were doing this page, but you didn't do the last page. Okay. My other videos, you should get another packet from the sub today. Let me see if I can remember the name on that packet. Histograms, ogives, dot plots, and mosaic graphs is the name of that one. So I'll have videos on that one too to walk through. So for a lot of these videos, I've written everything out beforehand to try and make the videos a little bit shorter. So you might have to pause several times to write down what you need to write down. And then definitely listen to what I have to say because I'm going to try and point out the big and most important things. So where I left you last time is we had the scores on this SSHA test, and you had to make a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. So there's mine. And we had to make a 2 box plots for men and women. So there's my 5-number summaries for the women and the men, and my box and whisker plots there. So this is what I expected you to finish class with. What you're going to start out on is the questions on the back. So the question on the back, some of them you could do, some you can't do. I believe you could probably pause the video right now and do the first and the second one. So question C and question D. It's the third one, E, that you might need a little bit of assistance on. So you can pause right now, and then I'll show you my answers. So in C, you had to go through and calculate any potential outliers there. So for the women and the men, I had to calculate the IQR first and then figure out where our fences were at. So I showed all my work here for both of them. IQR, find my lower fence, my upper fence. Remember, fences themselves are not outliers. It's what's outside the fences are outliers. So for women, we set a fence at 84 and 196. 200 is the only data point on the outside, so 200 is an outlier for women. For the men, my fences were 30.5 and 210.5. There was no data points outside, so no outliers. D, what I was trying to get you to think about is like, what are kind of the benefits that you see in each? So if you truly had a choice in doing a stem and leaf plot or a box plot, what's the better option there? So here's some kind of pros and cons I pointed out for each with pluses and minuses. So for a stem and leaf plot, you can see every single individual data point, okay? So you know how many data points there actually are. You can see every single one, so you can calculate means if you want. You can do a lot with those. You'll also be able to see gaps, and you'll see the modals, those humps there. You'll see those pretty easy with a stem and leaf plot. The drawback is it's tedious, meaning you have to plot every single point. Every single point has to be plotted for a stem and leaf plot, so that's going to take a while. A box plot, and this is a big question that shows up often, you can't see each point, okay? You don't know in a box and whisker plot how many data points there are, or even what they are. So if you don't know what the data points are, you don't know how many there are, you can't do a mean, okay? That's a big idea that is kind of fleshed out from box plots, is you do not know how many data points there are. You don't know how many there are, so don't forget that. You won't be able to see gaps all the time. You sometimes can. Or modals you definitely won't be able to see. The reason why box plots are used so often is it's super quick to make. If you figure out the 5-number summary, you figure out all 5 numbers, you can make a box plot super fast. What I want to point down here at the bottom is you're going to compare the distributions of study habits for women and men. So this question E is very similar to describing a distribution, but it's a little bit of an elevated question because you have to compare the distributions. So we're still going to use context, and we're still going to use shape, outliers, center, spread, except we have to have comparing words in there. Like, oh, they're both the same in this way. They're different. This has an outlier, this doesn't. oh, this one's median or mean is bigger than the other one. Do some comparisons there. So you're still doing context and describing the distribution. You're still going to describe the shape, outlier, center, spread, but you need some comparison words in there. So you might want to pause and see my answer here. I'll talk through it. I based mine off a stem and leaf plot is what I used there. Actually, I don't know why I wrote that because I actually used the box and whisker plot. I used a box and whisker. I did not use a stem and leaf plot there, but it's okay. So when comparing the distributions of SSH scores, there's context to start, of men and women. They are similar in that they are both skewed to the right. So in the shape, I felt most comfortable with saying they are skewed to the right. From my answer up above, women has an outlier at 200 on the survey, while men has no outliers. So I've done shape, but I made a comparison that they're both similar shapes. Outliers, I talk about one has one doesn't. Okay. Women's median is larger than men's. So there's a comparison. Women's median, notice I mentioned median, so you know what type of center I'm looking at. The median for women is larger than the men's, with women at 138.5 and men at 114.5. And then finally, for my spread, I did IQR, interquartile range. Men's interquartile range is larger than women's, with men at 45 and women at an IQR of 28. You could have done a range there, but since I actually did a box and whisker plot, I felt IQR was the way to go. So this is the conclusion of this packet. Hopefully the sub has given you the next packet, which future videos I have will go over those.